Hi, I want to thank everyone who has subscribed or liked or viewed my channel. I'm eternally grateful, very grateful. I got on here because Spirit has been pushing me to give a testimony about my life and my spiritual path. Okay. And I'm hoping that it reaches someone who's going through something similar or something like it. Okay. This wasn't easy for me, but it was something that I need to do, a part of my healing journey. Um, and hopefully it'll inspire or uplift someone in the collective to know that the divine, he's with you, never left you. Have faith and trust in the unseen. Know that God is moving for you always. What looks bad, trust and believe is always working out in your favor for the higher good of you. Because divine loves you, right? So without further ado, let me go ahead and start, letting you guys know my testimony, how and we're going to end it off with some things I've learned that I am so grateful that I learned, that has helped me heal in such a tremendous way. I have a joy that I've never experienced before, ever. And it's an inner peace, and it's beautiful. Man, it's beautiful. It's amazing. So, just starting off, I started a couple of videos, and I don't know. I just, I don't know if, the energy was there that was hindering me from finishing. So, I'm just going to start a whole nother video, and hopefully this video will get completed and help someone, because it's my main goal, is to help someone who's lost, who's confused, who thinks the world is out to get them. They have no look, no support. Seems nobody truly loves you. You want to give up. No. So let me tell you about myself. My situation, my life, I've always referred to it as being dealt a really bad hand. Dealt a really bad hand. Blackjack, I got a 16. And if you know anything about blackjack, the 16 is, hey, to me, is one of the worst set of cards you can possibly get, because, I mean, the odds aren't really good. I got a 16, and the dealer got a king or ace in the hand. But As a young girl, I struggled with receiving love from my parents, my siblings, my peers, teachers. It seems like everybody was out to get me. Everybody was out to hurt me. My skin was bad. I was allergic to insects. So whenever I got bit, I scratched. I scratched and I scratched because whatever they were releasing into my skin, I could not handle it. I scratched so I bled. So my skin was scarred up really, really bad. They used to call me Kayla Bug. They said I got bugs all over my skin. Not to mention, I got picked at a lot about my lips. They say they were very big. I did bad things with boys. And this was at a very young age. I was in elementary. I dreaded going to school. It was the worst thing ever. I didn't want to wake up in the morning to go to school because I know I was going to get bullied and picked on, due to my skin and my lips. Even at home, my own mom told me I looked like a horse. I look like my daddy's people. I ain't her child. I'm my daddy's child. Her and my aunts picked on me. I was the oldest of three girls. So I took a lot of responsibility for my sisters. I got whippings all the time. Taking up for them or not even taking up for them because I was responsible for them. So if they did something, I got a whipping for it. Home life was terrible. My mom, to me, I favored the Disney movie Cinderella because I always felt like Cinderella. I felt like Cinderella and I felt like an outcast. I felt that I was treated differently from my other sisters, from my other siblings. I had to clean up everything. I was never able to go anywhere with my mom. She always left me at home. She'd take my sisters, do things with them. I was left home alone a lot. Or I was left with my dad. My dad was not an alpha male. My mom was an alpha female, but my dad was not an alpha male, so he really had no jurisdiction over my life. If I asked, could I go to the playground, and he said yes, my mom found out and she didn't tell me I could go to the playground, then I'd get a whipping. I'd get beat on. And my dad could do nothing to save me but watch her punish me, although he gave me permission. So that's the kind of environment I lived in. They did a lot of fighting. Um, he always, felt like, I feel like he took a lot of his anger and frustration out on me because I was always left there with him. So I had to deal with that. I mean, don't get it twisted. He was a good dad for the most part. Taught me a lot. um, we always used to go to my grandparents' house. My dad loved going to his mom and dad, so I spent a lot of my time there. Although his parents treated me and my siblings as outcasts, different than they treated my other cousins that were closer to that side of the family. So, like Christmas, they get all the other cousins, they get gifts and things, but me and my sisters would not from that side of the family. Um, it's like, they didn't treat us the same. I did have an aunt um, that did live with my grandparents that did try to get us something, a card, maybe $2 in it or something. I adored her, you know. But I had other cousins that they treated on a more superior level rather than they treated me and my sisters. Because we spent a lot of time with my mother's side of the family. So I had a big granny and a little granny. My little granny was my dad's mom, and my big granny was my mom's mom. And we spent a lot of time with my big granny. Um, so, we always split up holidays. We go to my mom's side of the family for the most of the day, and at the end of the day, we go to my dad's side of the family. But I'm back to the story, just kind of giving you a little background. Um, School was rough. Family life was rough. I'll remember, all the way back to Head Start. Being picked on by my teachers. Other kids wouldn't play with me because of my skin that was so torn up from all the scratching and stuff from the insects. And they'd say I had bugs on my skin and they didn't want me standing by them. They wouldn't play with me. All the way up until first grade. Still didn't have friends, which we all know that whoever you probably start off and Head Start with, you're going to go all the way up to high school with. So those same kids picked on me, bullied me, treated me terribly. And the wild part about it is the kids that were bad in school, I'm gonna say they were labeled as bad because they had lists, or they probably weren't being treated right at home. They may have been in some special education classes, things like that. Just kids that probably didn't have the best hygiene and things like that due to their family life. Not judging them because I don't judge. I never been one to judge anyone. But even the kids that were not on my frequency, let's say frequency, that wasn't even on my frequency, and I was on a pretty low frequency because I was being bullied by all the other kids, which they consider the regular kids, the popular kids. And I was just one of the outcasts of the kids. So even I got bullied by the kids that were on a lower frequency than I was, that had poor hygiene, um, that, probably didn't comb their hair, their clothes were dirty, and, other kids picked on them. Those kids even targeted me. They hit me. They try to fight me every day for no reason. I did nothing to them. They just, I guess they had to have somebody to take their pain out on as well. Because as we all know, hurt people hurt people. Right? So school was so rough for me. So rough. Um, I didn't have the support of my mom. She never helped me with homework or things like that. And I was really quiet in school because I really had not very many people to talk to. I had one friend. She was my neighbor. She was really nice to me at home, and we were great at home. But when it came to school, she was a little more well-to-do than I was, so she blended in more with the popular kids. So she'd hang with them, and while they were bullying me, she really didn't stand up for me or take up for me. She kind of joined in some. I remember having a fight with her at school one day because she was just bullying me and talking about me with the other kids, and I was completely heartbroken because at home she was my best friend. Best friend. We dressed alike. Her parents bought her something. Her parents bought me something. I kind of vicariously lived my life, you know, with her family a lot. Because my mom didn't do very much for me. Um, if her dad bought her new school material, new mechanical pencils, he'd get me some. Her mom and dad were really super cool about that. She got a new Barbie doll. I got a new Barbie doll. They bought me a Barbie doll. I spent the night at their house a lot. Um, it was great. She had older brothers and sisters. She was the baby of the family. But it's like when we got to school, you due to her maintaining her image, she really did not treat me the way she treated me when we were home. So we had a fight. I remember I was trying to take up for myself. She was picking at me in the hall with the other kids. They always put me at the back of the line because nobody wanted to stand near me or be around me. And the boys would feel on me, put their hands on me, touch me in nasty ways, and threaten me. You know, this was in elementary from like, you know, first grade all the way up until sixth grade. Yeah. Well, yeah, sixth grade. Anyway, we had a fight this day. And yeah, I won. But we both ended up going to the office. I remember we were both gonna get suspended. We both cried and cried, and they made us apologize and threatened to paddle us and all that. And the way we cried, and I was telling principal, she's my best friend. I love her. And once we explained what was going on or whatever, we got suspended for one day. One day. He cut us a break, but we still had to go home and tell our parents. We made up before we got off the bus because we were trying to figure out how to tell our parents, especially me telling mine, because she knew I was going to get a really bad whooping for it. And I did. But like I said, we made up before we even got off the bus because I was only taking up for myself, and she was only following the crowd. I'm just kind of skipping through it a little. As time went on, she had older brothers, and they used to call me Kayla Lamb Chop. I was kind of big, thick, boned, thick legs, calf muscles, and I was athletic. I like lifting weights and running track and all that good stuff. Basketball, football. I was kind of like a tomboy at that time in my life. Um, but I remember, playing at her house, spending the night. I remember her brothers playing with me. We're wrestling because, as I said, I was tomboyish, and I never, you know, had sex or anything like that. But I remember them touching me inappropriately, wrestling with me, holding me down, pressing their private parts on my body, which made me feel very uncomfortable. But they played it off like it was just wrestling and, clowning around. But although I never had sex or anything like that at that age, I felt the inappropriateness of it. Um, I felt like I was being molested, or, back in the days, say hunching. They were hunching on you. So I felt like I was being hunched on. I'm from Mississippi, so I gotta understand. I got a southern accent and southern slang, so hey, it is what it is. But I went through that. Um, I even went through a period where even my own dad came home upset because my mom was gone. She would always leave, and they'd stay in arguments, and they do, she'd do her thing, he'd do his thing. There's one particular day I know I was home watching my sisters, and they were sick. I was trying to give them some medicine, some Pepto-Bismol, because, they weren't feeling well. He come in, telling me not to go to my room. Y'all go to your room. I think he was drunk or um, high. He dabbled with some drugs back then. And this type of thing had never happened before. But I told him no. My sisters was, mama told me I got to take care of them. And because I knew that he didn't have very much authority over me, and I had to take care of them, or I was going to get beat, or I was going to get a whipping for not taking care of my sisters while my mom was gone, I could not listen to what he was telling me to do because I had to do what I was told to do by my mom. And my dad was not allowed to whip us or anything because he was a man. And my mom said that men are too strong and they should not hit women, girls, women, whatever. So he wasn't allowed to whip us. And he had never whipped me before. And that's why I know this particular day, he was really under the influence of alcohol or drugs. But he just came in just irate and not acting like my dad. Um, and he jumped on me, like he fought me, like he was fighting my mom. Like I've watched them have altercations before, so you know. He fought me. I tussled with him, trying to get him off of me. And I remember him saying, since you want to be grown and you want to act like your mama. And he talked about my mom. He said some pretty nasty things about her. As he was holding me down and pinning me down while he was trying to fight me. He was touching me inappropriately. He pressed his private part on me. He never got the opportunity to go any further than that. But I remember feeling sodomized. Not necessarily sodomized, but definitely inappropriately handled for a young girl who had never been with a boy, never had a menstrual cycle, never anything like that. So, um, my mom ended up coming home eventually. Um, I told her what happened. She sent us over to my aunt's house. She said she was going to get rid of my dad. He was never coming back. And please keep in mind, you guys, I love my dad. I love my dad. I love my mom. And that day, that wasn't my daddy. He had an energy on him, and I automatically recognized it was not my dad. It was like a demon was on him or something. So I know it wasn't my dad. I know it was a really bad energy that was attached to him. So I definitely forgive him. I forgive him. I've forgiven him because I've always known it wasn't him. Deep down on the inside, I knew it was not my dad. My dad had never done anything like that before. And just laying about things like that. And my dad ended up still coming, back eventually because he was our support. My mom and dad stayed into it, cheating on one another and things of that nature. I also remember a significant time where my mom was she was cheating, and me and my sisters were aware, um, because she do it and, have us assist her in her cheating or her infidelity, going to get money from the third party or whatever and bringing it back to her, or the third party giving us rides, you know, to the park or to my dad's job, just different things. Um, I always felt really sorry for my dad because I felt like he was not an alpha male. He was being taken advantage of and used because whatever my dad was doing, he kind of did it kind of behind our back, didn't put it just directly in our faces, but my mom did, and we were threatened to keep her business. But me being an empath, feeling my dad's emotions, the pain, the hurt, I always felt very, very sorry for him that he was going through that with her. Not to say that he was not doing the same thing to her, but it wasn't as bold, um, in his instance with his children as it was with my mom. So one particular day, as I told you, I'm always with my mom and my. I'm not with my mom. I'm always with my dad. I'm always with my dad because my mom never let me go anywhere with her. She'd go out to eat. They go to dinner. I'd never been to a restaurant before. I was probably, shoot, I don't know, 10, 11. Never been to a restaurant, but my sister had been to Captain D's. You know, back then, one adult, two kids eat for free. I don't know if that's how it was anywhere else, but that's how it was here in Mississippi. So since my mom had three daughters, she always chose my sisters over me. And I never got to see what Captain D's looked like on the inside or ever taste the food before. And my sisters used to brag about it and tell me about it, and I just wanted to go so bad. No, she never let me go. No particular reason that she made aware to me. She just said, "You're your daddy, kid. Go with your dad." So I'm always with my dad. I was going to the country, to my dad's parents' house. My granddad, my dad, this particular day, they pulled me to the side. My dad already knew my mom was doing some infidelity or whatever. So they pressured me and they talked me into telling them about my mom's infidelities with the third party. I cried. I did not want to do it. I begged them not to make me do it. My dad promised that he would protect me. Nothing would happen to me. My granddad promised me. Um, they just pressured me. It was kind of like being, going to jail and the police in there interrogating you and they're putting the pressure on you and they won't let up and you don't know what to do. I was nervous. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. But I know I felt for my dad in the way my dad was crying and my granddad was, coming at me. I told on my mom. I told my dad what she was doing. My dad went back, told my mom everything that I told him, and he watched my mom whip me till I bled. I bled. The whips were bad. She beat me for a very long time, and he just watched, and he did not help me, and he promised to protect me. After that, I did not tell my dad nothing else. Trust and believe. He ain't have to worry about it. He ain't have to worry about it. Um, so yeah. So I could never put much of my faith and trust in my father or get the security or protection from a man. I lacked that in my childhood. I lacked protection, comfort, security from my mother, nurturing. I got none of that. I lacked it with I got the nurturing from my dad to an extent, um, but I did not get, you know, girls feel like they daddy gonna protect them. And I know for a fact he was never gonna protect me. Never gonna protect me. But I loved him because I spent the majority of my time with my dad because my mom had casted me out. Um, I was involved in all kinds of stuff. I was, a little league cheerleader. I remember I made Miss Raider. Because I was a cheerleader for the Raiders. I was on the float, got all dressed up. My dad had to do my hair and get me ready and take me there. My mom never came to any of my school plays. She never went to any of the little pee wee football games where I cheered. Um, I ran track in junior high, high school. I ran track for varsity for another school. I was in junior high because I was really good. I thought I just knew I was going to get a scholarship, but I begged her to go to track meets. She never showed up. My dad could never make track meets because he worked. But if there was an event that he could make it to, he did. I remember Christmas plays. I remember one time I was an angel, and my dad had to do my hair in the back of the auditorium and get me dressed and put on my angel wings because my mom refused to come support me. Mm. I played basketball for junior high and high school. She came to one basketball game, and that was it. And that's the only time I ever recall her supporting me. Um, I'd get award day, get so many awards for citizenship and attendance and honor roll, and she never showed up. She never came, no matter what I did. And I did everything to the best of my ability because I wanted her to love me. I wanted her to like me. I wanted her to be proud of me. I wanted my mom to acknowledge me and care for me like she did my sisters. She never did. But my dad did try to support me as much as he possibly could when he could. It's just the fact that I used to say he was a weak man. Just, I don't know what he went through during his childhood completely, but his masculine was not balanced with his feminine energy. My mom dominated the relationship. She dominated the house. She dominated everything. What she says goes. Um, so the only love that I did get was, from my dad. I can never remember my mom ever telling me that she loved me as a child, as a young adult, as the first time I remember her telling me she loved me, I was probably about, I think, 32 years old. I was talking to her on the phone, and I told her I loved her, and she actually said, I love you too. And I was blown, and I was like, my mom said she loved me. Wow. Um, but that was the first time I think I ever heard her actually say that she loved me. My mom and my dad ended up separating when I was about 14 years old. We lived on the south side of town. She got caught cheating. I guess she was on a date or something. He ended up getting off work and catching her. Her friend, whoever the third party she was with, him and his friend jumped on my dad, beat him up really, really bad. I mean, really, really bad. When he did show back up at home, because of course I was there watching my sisters, like I was always did. He came home, crying. His face was so swollen and beat up. Looked like Mike Tyson had them got a hold to him. Like he looked like the Elephant Man. If anybody know what the Elephant Man looked like, I remember I used to watch that black and white movie. But he looked really bad, and he said he was gonna go to the hospital. but he came to get his stuff and to tell us bye because he was never coming back. I cried because really my dad was all that I had. May not have bothered my sisters very much because they had my mom, but I know once he left, I was going to be completely alone. Completely alone. I begged him, could I go with him? Take me with you, please. You know she don't love me. Please take me with you. And he said he could not because my mom has to say so. And she chose what she wanted. And I got to stay with my mom. And I cried as he left. And maybe 30 minutes later, my mom showed up, told us to pack our things. We were leaving in the middle of the night. We ended up going to the PJs, which we call the projects, to the third party, which was now her new boyfriend. We went to his mom's home because he still lived with his mother as a grown man. He didn't work. I believe he got disability or something. But he stayed with his mom, so we ended up moving to the projects, which were forbidden for us because that was considered like the bad part of town, and bad people were there and they did drugs and things of that nature. So we weren't allowed to be nowhere near the projects. But now we got to live in the projects. So it was scary, right? Because all we heard about it and we were never allowed to go there. And not to mention the kids at school that stayed in the projects, the PJs, were very mean. Very mean. They jumped on me, they picked on me, they bullied me constantly. They touched me inappropriately. I did not want to go to the PJs because I knew those kids from school. I did not want to live down there, but I didn't have a choice because I had to go with my mom. Anyway, we moved in with her boyfriend's parents, his mom and stepdad, his older 20 some odd year old brother, 27, something like that. And then another brother that stayed there, older men. And of course, we were just young girls. Even his stepdad was an older man, probably about in his 50s. They were all drunks. Well, they drank a lot of alcohol. I don't want to call them drunks. But they stayed intoxicated, smoking marijuana and things like that. And they touched us inappropriately as well. The brothers, the stepdad of his. So it's very scary situation. I remember my sister um, told my mom that the stepdad, which was the 50-something-year-old man, was touching her, was in her, came in the room, was touching her. I used to be scared to go to sleep at night. But she ended up having to go to the hospital. And they had to get her checked or whatever. And they said she had been touched by a man or boy. And she told him she hadn't been with any boys. The only person that touched her was that old man. And my mom ended up having us leave and go stay at the Salvation Army. We stayed at the Salvation Army. At that point, we were labeled homeless. And we stayed there for about a couple of weeks. And we ended up getting our own apartment in the PJs, in the projects. And of course, my mom's boyfriend moved in with us. He always came at me inappropriately. He always showed so much favor towards me, would not leave me alone. It agitated my mom. She did not like that. I did not like that. He'd make her feel bad. She'd cook and he'd say, "No, I want Kayla to do it. I want her to cook my cornbread. I want her to cook my dirty rice. I want her to do it. She cooked better than me. I want her to stuff to mess with my mom and showing favoritism to me, coming in my room, bothering me, touching me, sitting on my bed, like did the absolute most. Um, I remember when she used to get into it with a boyfriend because he stayed drunk. Shoot, there were times we didn't have food in the refrigerator, but we had plenty of beer, booze. His friends would come over. He'd have older friends, maybe in their 20s and 30s. And, they say nasty things to me, and while they were watching maybe football or whatever, and they were all in there together getting drunk. My mom be at work. I have to kind of fight them off. They're grabbing, etching stuff. Anyway, my mom's boyfriend, he would come in my room at night and touch me in my sleep. And I'd tell my mom, but he'd say I was lying or she just didn't believe me. I don't know. Or she just refused to believe me. I got whippings all the time for no reason. I took up for my sisters because that's how she trained me up to be. To protect them, not let nothing happen to them. They looked at me as like a mother figure. So if they did something and she said, well, y'all finna get y'all behinds tore up, they come to me and they cry. And they say, please don't let her whoop me. Please, please. And they cry. And because I'm an empath and I know that's what it is, my heart broke for them. So I would take the whippings, the beatings for them so that she wouldn't hurt them because I didn't want them to get hurt. Because I was used to taking up for them. And she say, well, since you want to take up for them, I'm finna, take your up or whatever. And she didn't whoop me lightly. Like, times I got beat so bad, I had to stay out of school for a few days because I was, bloody or the whips were just so thick and messed up, whatever. But my sisters really never hardly got whippings because I always took up for them. If they stole something, if they took something, if they got caught doing anything, I'm the one who got the whippings. I got all the whippings, all the beatings. If she got into it with a boyfriend, if he said I didn't do something he told me to, I got the whippings. She had began where she started allowing her boyfriend to whip us, to hit us. He get extension cords, he would whip us. And my dad wasn't even allowed to whip us, so imagine how I felt about that. Anyway, he complained, get into it with her. Next thing you know, I tell her about what he did or this, that, and the other. She just didn't want to hear it. One night she came in my room and she broke my heart. She said, do you want my man? Because why is you making it hard for me? Why is you making it hard? You must want my man. You want my man? Is that what you want? You want my man? And she whipped me. She whipped me. I didn't want her man. I didn't want that man near me. I didn't want her man near me. He was a man who preyed on young girls. He was younger than my mom. And she had a thing for younger men. But he was much, much older than we were. He was 28 I don't know, 28, 29, could have been 30. I don't know. But my heart was broken. Not even just for the whipping, that she would actually think that low of me when I love her so much. And all I ever wanted was for her to love me. That's all I wanted. I want her to love me and treat me the way she treat my sisters. Treat me the way she treat her sisters. She acted like she hated me. And I did everything in my power to try to be a good daughter. My sisters were bad. They just did the most. They got away with, the world. But me, I'm yes ma'am, no ma'am. I'm cleaning, I'm cooking. It was at one point I cried to, and I was like, I got a whip, and I was like, but you keep whipping me for everything, but you tell me to do everything. You never ask my sisters to do nothing. You never tell them to cook nothing. You never tell them to clean up nothing. You call me. You constantly call me. I can't even sit down. You call me. You call me. Feasts now I'm doing it for your boyfriend. Like, why you always call me? She said, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. I'm just so used to calling on you because you always do it and you do it right and you get it done. I call on them. They don't get it done. I don't bother with it. I just call who I know going to get it done. But you're right. It's not fair to you. So next time that I do that, make me aware of it because I have time. I'm not aware that I'm doing it because I'm so used to doing it. Just let me know, and I'll get one of them to do it. So I was like, okay. So the next time she called me several times throughout the day. It was so much, and I noticed she hadn't called my sister. I was like, Ma, you told me that if you keep calling me a bunch of times to let you know, and you'll get one of my sisters to do it because you always come and do everything, and I done did everything, and they ain't did nothing. And she said, are you talking back to me? Are you effing talking back to me? I got a whipping. I got put on punishment, locked in my room on a mattress on the floor for weeks, man. I remember I used to stare out the window, looking at everybody in the projects walk by. Kids playing outside, grown men hustling, selling nickel sacks and dime bags. And I just wanted to go out the door. I wanted to go outside so bad. It was hot. I ain't have a fan in my room. A mattress on the floor in that hot apartment. All I could do was let the window open, look outside and watch everybody pass by. But I got so tired of being in that room to the point where I got caught sneaking out in the middle of the night. I felt like a prisoner. I wanted to see what it felt like to be outside so bad. So I waited till she went to sleep. And I was doing this for several nights. And it wasn't safe, of course, because we were in the projects and, there's drugs and people shooting and all kinds of different things and pedophiles, all kinds of stuff. But I wasn't worried about none of that. I wanted to go outside. I wanted to breathe. I wanted some air. I wanted to breathe. So I'd wait till she go to sleep and I'd sneak out the patio door and I'd leave it cracked so I could ease back in while her boyfriend was asleep back in, so I wouldn't do nothing but walk outside, walk to the park and sit on the playground, sit on the play seat, just sit there, look at the moon, look at the stars, be really quiet because I didn't want nobody to see me sneaking around because I was kind of afraid that some grown man or somebody was going to do something. So I was very, you know, meticulous at, making sure that I wasn't seen. But little did I know, there was a grown man that kept watching me sneak out at night and go to the playground. He didn't attempt to do nothing to me while I was at the playground. This particular night, he came in. I snuck back into our apartment and I shut the slide door where I had it cracked. And I went and snuck back in my room. All the lights was out. And this grown man that I was petrified of was standing behind my door. And he grabbed me and threw me down on the mattress on the floor. And he told me if I made a sound, my mom would wake up and catch me and I'd get in trouble. And he knows she beat me. He gonna let her know so I can get beat. Well, she gonna find out and I'm gonna get beat for sneaking out the door. I thought about it. I didn't want to get a beating. But before I let that man rape me, I told him I will scream, wake my mom up, take a beating before I let you touch me and rape me in this room. So you better get out of our house because I'm about to scream and wake up my mom. And she gonna kill you. She gonna unalive you. I guess he thought about it and he eased on out that door. Man, I never snuck out the house again. I just stayed locked up in that daggone room. So if I wasn't dealing with her boyfriend trying to touch me, I couldn't get a break, you know. I just couldn't get a break. Pushing on forward, we moved to one day she left us home with him and he tried to attack me and I fought him off. He got one of those metal rakes. Y'all know those metal rakes? Not the plastic rakes, the big wide, but the metal ones. And he beat me with that rake, scratched me up. I was bleeding everywhere. My sisters were trying to get him off of me, trying to help me. My mom went there. She was at work, I believe. Man, I remember it was a machete sitting on top of the utility closet. I grabbed that machete and I threatened to unalive him if he didn't stop attacking me. He was attacking me and he ended up leaving once I got that machete and I threatened to unalive him. He went to his mom's house. She stayed in the PJs as well. I've already, told y'all that. That's what we started off at. Man, my mom come home. I tell her, she see I'm bleeding, scratched up, bruised up real bad. My sisters, we tell her what happened. So she rushed out and she go check on her boyfriend. She was gone for a while. I felt like she finally finna get rid of him. He's not gonna be around us anymore. We don't have to deal with this anymore. She come back home and she tell me that he don't want to come back unless I go to his mama house and I apologize to him and I ask him to come back. I told her I'm not apologizing to him and asking him to come back. I don't want him to come back. Why am I going to apologize to him when he attacked me? He was taking advantage of me. Why do I have to ask for him to come back? Because it's the only way he going to come back. Either I do that or I get my stuff and I get out of her house. I told her I wasn't doing it. She told me to go get my stuff and get out of her house. I remember it was raining outside. She didn't allow me to get nothing. I got my backpack and I had on some kids and a pair of shorts and a tank top. Man, she put me out. I walked way across town to the south side of town where we used to live before my dad separated, to my friend's house that I said, was my friend, but, we had little problems at school, but she was still my best friend. Went to her house, told her what happened, because my dad stayed on the south side of town, but he stayed a little further out. So I had to keep on walking to get where my dad was at. So I walked on, made it to my dad's house. He had a new girlfriend. I told him what happened. He saw the bruises. He saw I was bleeding. I told him everything. He told me that was not his problem. We with my mom now. We're not his responsibility. Besides, his girlfriend wasn't going to let me stay there. Man, y'all wouldn't believe how heartbroken I was. How many days and nights I laid up in my room, writing in my little tablet, in my little journal, talking about how much I miss my daddy. And I just wanted my daddy back. God, please give me my daddy back. I wanted my daddy back. I wrote in my journal everything that was happening to me, day to day. My sister found a journal. I know I took care of my sisters and they looked at me as a mother figure. They understood that they had favor with my mom. And they were always the kind of sisters who let me take up for them, let me cook for them, let me protect them, you know, fight off bullies for them, all that. I did that. But they wanted to see me hurt all at the same time. I could never understand it. How could you want somebody who take care of you, protect you, and do everything for you, take beatings for you till I bled, but you still wanted to see me hurt? The energies in that house off the charts. Do you hear me? So she found my journal and she read it and she saw where I was saying what was going on. My mom boyfriend, how, my mom treated me and how she didn't love me and I wanted my dad and she allowed her boyfriend to do this and da da da. All that stuff I wrote in that journal. My mom got a hold to it from my sister. She found it and she beat me so bad. Took my journal, told me I was never allowed to write again. So she took my tablets, my backpack out of my room so I couldn't write out my feelings. After that, I never wrote out my feelings no more because I was afraid it was going to be seen and I was going to get in trouble for it. So I learned to keep my feelings and my emotions bottled up on the inside because she blocked it for me. But anyway, you know, just talking about how I wanted my dad to rescue me. I remember I used to listen to Sam Cooke. Mm, I just wanted my daddy. I wanted to be rescued. I wanted to be saved. Anyway, he turned me around in the rain. I walked back to my friend girl's house. Her dad ended up taking me back home to the projects where my mom was at. She made him feel like she was going to let me back in. When he left, she put me back out the door. I wandered around to, other people in the projects. They might have let me sleep on their couch here and there this night, that night. It was pretty crazy. I was homeless for a good little while as a young girl. Eventually, I had to apologize to her boyfriend to come back home. I ended up coming back home after some weeks because people were talking about me, putting me down for sleeping on a couch. They didn't want to feed me. I had no food. I had no money. And I got tired of people talking about me and treating me like trash. So I went back and apologized and I went back home. I stayed with my mom for a while. Still dealing with her boyfriend. This next time we moved to another apartment in the same projects. But this time I guess we got in trouble. I can't even remember what we got in trouble about. But she allowed him, she was home, she allowed him to whoop us. But he whooped everybody. He didn't whoop anybody but me. She whooped my sisters. She allowed him to take me in the back room, shut the door, and he beat me. And he touched on me so inappropriately. And he beat on me and beat on me. And I hollered and I screamed and I hollered and screamed for my dear life. And she never came. She came at the very last minute and caught him what he was doing. And she said that she screamed at him and fussed at him. And she told me to go up in my room and lock the door. She finna get rid of him. He gone. He can't stay in her house no more. Go in there. Everything gonna be okay. Just go in there. I go in my room. I'm so happy. I'm like, she finally finna get rid of him. He's finna be gone. Thank you, God. I'm glad she caught him this time. She saw for herself. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, God. Now he finna go. He's finna be gone. Man, my mama bedroom on the side of my bedroom. I sat in there waiting, thinking he gonna be gone. I could come out my room. I got my door locked, thinking he gone. And I hear them having sex in the room on the side of me. I mean loud. Making sexual noises. I, man, I just was like, are you serious? I give up. I give up. So I tried to unalive myself. Took a whole bunch of pills, a bunch of Tylenols, any pills I could find. I just took them. I swallowed them. I took them. Man, I was so sick. I was so sick. She called an ambulance. They come get me. She asked me what I did. I said I took pills. Ambulance come, they get me, they take me to the hospital, and they pump my stomach. Maybe that black charcoal stuff they use and pump. Oh, it hurt so bad. It was worse than taking the pills. It was worse than getting beat. I feel like I was dying going through that. Like, oh my God. I'm like, I'm never going to try to kill myself again. Unalive myself. Sorry, YouTube. But I am never going to try to do this again. Try to take my life unless I'm going to make sure that I'm out of here. Like, it's got to be quick and it's got to be fast because I will never go through the process of getting my stomach pumped again. If anybody's ever had your stomach pumped before and then had to take that charcoal stuff, whatever that is, you know what I mean. That tube down your throat, that is painful. Ain't no sedation, ain't no nothing to ease it. They jamming it down there, they putting the charcoal in there. You gonna feel every bit of it. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna be torture. It's going to be torture. So before any of y'all think about unaliving yourself and taking pills, you do not want to get your stomach pumped. I'm telling you that now. It is terrible. The worst. Oh, it is so bad, y'all. It is so bad. You gonna wish you were unalived right then. Because you ain't going to want to feel that. Anyway, get back home. Everything settled down. Same thing went on, didn't change. My ear itching. It's 111 on the clock. Angel number. But time go on. I end up meeting running back into a friend of mine. At this point, well, let me go back. Stuff was getting kind of hectic. It's getting kind of hectic. Well, but my sister ended up getting a whipping, and they normally don't too much get whippings or whatever. It was mostly me, but she got bruised up and stuff real bad, and they went and reported to the schools that we were being abused, and the school pulled us all in the office and were checking our bodies. It was so embarrassing. I ain't never been so embarrassed in my life. Anyway, we ended up having to go stay with my dad for a little while. So they investigated her and all that good stuff. My dad had a new girlfriend, who was jealous of us. When I say she was jealous of us, she was a drunk too. And she was a big old masculine woman who ran my dad. My dad had a bad about getting women who dominated him, where he had no say so. So she would give us the blues, kick us out the house in the middle of the night, throw temper tantrums, get drunk, you know, whatever. So we would go upstairs because they stayed in an apartment on the south side. And it was some guys that were LGBT, but they were really nice and they were our friends. But we used to go up there while, she'd kick us out or whatever until her alcohol wear off or whatever. And we can go back down by my dad's. Anyway, I met my daughter's dad up there because one of the dudes that were LGBT was his brother, and he used to go visit his brother. He told me he was 18, 17 or 18, I can't remember. I thought it was 17, but then he told me, no, I'm 18. So that's why I was confused with the 17, 18-year-old thing. But anyway, um, you know, my dad be gone, so we kind of make out or whatever, not really doing anything because I was actually afraid to have sex with him or whatever. But he touched me. You back, you know how guys do. Just let me touch it. Just let me rub it. Let me rub it. I'm not gonna put it in. I'm not gonna, you know. I'm not, and me being young and dumb, and I hadn't, went through that type thing really. I was like, oh, okay. So, but when he was doing, I noticed that the tip of it was so wet. So I believe it was pre-coming. And he, kind of rubbed it on my um, private or whatever. And it didn't go all the way in. It was just rubbing it, just. I didn't think I could get pregnant like that, but I ended up pregnant, you guys. I really did. Talk about being dealt some crazy cards. You hear me? I ended up being pregnant. I didn't want to believe I was pregnant because I was like, I didn't do nothing. I remember I saw 17 magazine because I was into 17 magazines at the time, and I saw one where they was talking about, and I guess it was my angels or something. At that time, I didn't realize I had, angels watching over me, showing me signs and synchronicities or whatnot. But I ran up on the 17 magazine that was talking about um, girls getting pregnant by pre-ejaculation or pre-cum or whatever. And I was like, oh my God, like that is what happened to me, right? So I read up on it and I was like, so this really can happen. Because what I'm thinking, I'm like, Mary, you know what I mean? About to birth Jesus because I ain't, do it. How did I, because I thought it had the process. But I found that sperm cells swim. So I ended up pregnant with my daughter. I did not want to believe it. I denied it. I did everything to try to. I noticed that my belly button was trying to poke out. My breasts were itching like crazy. I scratched them, so I got the lines. I mean, I kept having to go to the bathroom and pee a lot. I fall asleep at school, morning sickness. I couldn't eat breakfast, egg, milk, anything. I threw up every morning. I had to be pregnant, which I tried to, deny. So when my belly button started poking out, and I realized, okay, I'm pregnant. I was probably about, I don't know, 5 or 6 months at this point because I was trying to, you know, say this couldn't be or whatever. Man, I did everything. I ain't gonna tell no story. Yeah, I tried to get a clothes hanger and do something to myself. I used to beat myself in the stomach, flip over couches, do stuff to hurt myself, punching myself in the stomach, causing all kind of pain to myself, trying to not be pregnant. Yeah, I did a lot. Still ended up still pregnant. Man, I remember it got to the point where I was probably about 8 months at this point. But because I was an athlete and everything, like nobody could tell I was pregnant. Nobody knew. I just wore my t-shirts or whatever. I didn't show. I didn't tell nobody. Nobody could tell. I knew when I took my clothes off, but nobody really knew. Mom didn't know. They even though I slept in the afternoon as soon as I got out of school, you know, cause I was still going to track practice. I was doing everything, but I ended up telling my sister, which I don't know why, because my sister that's right up under me sabotaged everything I did. No matter what I did, she told on me. She wanted me to suffer. I don't know why this child wanted me to suffer when I ain't doing to take care of her, and she used to tell me, I'm like her mama. Like, she trusted me to do everything for her. But I don't know if it was jealousy. I don't know if it was envy. I don't know what it was. But she enjoyed watching me suffer. She did. So I told her, and she was supposed to have kept it a secret. She ended up, got into it. My mama boyfriend did something. She went outside, keyed up my mama car, wrote my mama name is a B blank TCH all over the car. Like my sister was pretty reckless. Like she was wild. She did the most. Took my mama boyfriend clothes, stuff I wouldn't have ever had the balls, the gumps. I would have never tried to do nothing like that because I knew what I was gonna get. But because she never got in trouble and I took up for her and I took the whippings, she was a little more rambunctious and my mom couldn't really do nothing with it because she was spoiled. Um, she took my mama boyfriend clothes, took him to the dumpster, his shoes, cut him up, put bleach on, threw away his clothes, keyed up my mama car. My mama got tired. She couldn't do nothing with my sister no more at this point. My sister was giving her the blues. Do you hear me? So she said that she was gonna take her to the to juvenile, to jail, so they could lock her up because they couldn't do nothing with her. So they take up there, they get up there, taking her up there. And before she went to jail, she said, "Why y'all worried about me?" Is what I heard. That's why I got pregnant. Baby, when they found out that she didn't go to jail, they left the police station. They come back. I'm sitting down eating ravioli, watching the Cosby Show. And my mama come in and call me everything but the child of God. Tell me how she hate me. She never liked me. I'm a garden tool. I'm a female dog. Man, you name it, man. She made me feel so little, so low, so it's crazy. So I got a whooping. I got a whooping. I got a bad whooping. Keep in mind, I was about 8 months pregnant. But like I said, I wasn't showing much. Anyway, she told me I'm gonna have to make a doctor's appointment, go to the doctor, whatever. She really wanted me out of her house, but she didn't put me out. So I started going to the doctor myself, walking to the doctor's office. She never gave me a ride, you know. I never really been to the doctor because we never got sick, and if we did, we still never went to the doctor. I had never been to the dentist. My mama never. We wasn't the kind of kids that ever went to a dentist. I went to the dentist in Head Start because I was eating with my mouth closed and my mouth open, and my Head Start teacher fussed at me and embarrassed me. Said I ain't had no home training. I know how to eat with my mouth closed. Da da da. I told her what was going. She picked on me in front of the other kids. They laughed at me, and I started trying to eat with my mouth closed, but it hurt so bad. And that's when they made all the kids appointments at the dentist. And when we're going to the dentist, and I remember my first time going to um, the dentist was a Caucasian dentist. And he act like he did not like African American children. He did not give me any anesthesia. And he pulled so many teeth and put caps over all my teeth. He pulled all the teeth in the back. My mouth was bloody. I was in pain. I cried. Back then, they would scrap kids down to hospital beds. They had scraps on the sides of the beds. Y'all don't see that now because it's 2024. Ain't no scraps on the hospital bed, but they used to scrap children down, scrap people down so that they wouldn't move to do see about them. So they scrapped me down to the bed. It was big scraps. They scrapped me down and held me down, and I hollered and I cried, and I did not get anesthesia. I did not get nothing. He went and pulled teeth out, and I screamed. I even passed out. Um, it was the worst agonizing pain I ever had. Ended up going back to the schoolhouse, waiting on my mama to come get me. And I cried and I hollered. My teachers got mad. They put me in a corner and made me stand there with my nose in the corner, crying till my mama came. But my mom did not come get me until school was over. So the whole time I was in Head Start that day, my mama never came pick me up. And I sat there with a bloody mouth full of caps and pulled teeth and gauze and cotton swabs, hollering and crying with my nose in a corner. I remember that. That's the only time I've ever been to the dentist. But luckily for me, I never had problems with a wisdom tooth because I guess they snatched everything out in the back at a young age. But of course, I never went to the dentist. I don't have problems with my teeth. They're spaced out. You know, people pick at me about that. They did in school. Um, but hey, they still spaced out to this day. But they mine. And I don't care. I don't worry about no judgment no more. Okay? Then it hurt. It don't hurt no more. I don't worry about it. But back to me being pregnant, setting doctor's appointments, walking to the doctor's office that was miles across town to see a doctor that was a big African doctor. He's passed now. He's not alive. Like I said, I think they said that, I don't know if it's true. Just in what I heard, that he unalived his wife for infidelity or something like that. But I remember he was such a big old older black man, and he used to check me all the time, like every appointment, and he had the biggest hands in the world, and he used to jam them inside of my vagina, like saying he was checking me, but I know he was sodomizing me, and he always had to check my breasts, and he touched me and squeeze on them and press them hard and cause pain to me. But my mom would never go with me to the doctor, so she didn't know that was happening to me. She didn't want to hear about it. She didn't want to have no dealings with it at all. I ended up having my child alone, petrified, enemas, uh, shaving hair away from the birthing area, all this stuff that was doing to me, I never experienced. My mom told me death was going to go around my bed 99 times. I might not make it. She made me so afraid she wouldn't come. She said she had to go to work and she was not coming. So I had to endure that alone. I did not get any epidurals or anything like that because they said that I could be paralyzed. They scared me with that. So I didn't want to take that risk. So I had natural births. So I went through a lot of pain. Um, and I ended up having my daughter, which they told me was a boy, and she ended up being a girl. I got the little girl, and they put in my arms, and she was swollen. Keep in mind, I was 15 when I got pregnant. I had my daughter when I was 16. So I ended up being 16. Um, yeah. And so, of course, I never changed the baby, held the baby. I never fed a baby. I knew nothing about a baby. So they kept me in the hospital probably about a week or so because I never knew nothing about a baby and I was considered high risk because I was young. So they had to take me through all kind of classes. So they wanted me to get the baby. I didn't want to get the baby because I thought the baby was ugly. I thought the baby was ugly because they gave me some baby. The baby was all swollen with fluid all over it. I was like, that ain't my baby. And they said I'm having a boy, and I don't want the ugly baby. I can't take that baby with me. Like, what I'm gonna do with that ugly baby? Like, that was like straight after having him. So I would never let them bring her to my room. So I ended up staying in the hospital longer than I was supposed to. So they finally did bring it to me. And when they did, she did not look like the same baby. That baby was beautiful. She was so pretty. Oh, she had these dark black eyes. Like, her eyes were not brown. They were black, like coal. Her eyebrows were so thick and her hair was so sleek and smooth, and she was such a beautiful skin complexion. I was like, this not the same baby I looked at, but of course I ain't know nothing about babies with fluid on them and all that kind of stuff. So I was kind of happy, yeah, that she was so amazing and so beautiful. I was like, whoa, she's mine. So yeah. After they, taught me how to try to breastfeed and put cabbage in my bra and how to change the baby diaper and how to burp a baby and how many ounces they get with the food, how to make a bottle. After I went through all that, they released me, let me go home. I went home and, you know, she was a sickly baby. She was on, she kept staying constipated and throwing up. None of the milk worked. The breastfeeding part didn't work. So they ended up putting on Alimentum, which is kind of like a goat milk in a sense. They came in one big can, and you don't concentrate. It was just liquid, and one can was like $17 to $18. But I did get it from Week, but we always ran out. Um, so anyway, at this point, I had to stay in the house 6 weeks. I couldn't go outside because in the olden days, you don't go outside after 6 weeks. You have your 6 week appointment, then you can go outside. So I wasn't allowed to even go out the door. When I did start going out the door, I ran into a friend that I went to school with when we lived on the south side of town when I was in grade school and junior high. He was hustling back then, you know, selling, crack cocaine. And so plus, he got a SSI chick, a crazy chick. But back then, everybody getting crazy chick. People were taking their kids up there getting chicks, letting their kids be put in special ed just so they can get chicks and stuff for their kids, parents. Not thinking about the child, but so I didn't think nothing of it, the fact that he got a crazy chick, because I had cousins and people who were getting crazy chicks just because their parents wanted the income, had children go up there and act a fool so they can get the chicks back then. So he was really nice. He was a friend. He used to help me buy the milk for my baby when I ran out. My mom was, you know, she wouldn't feed me, so we never had food. She said I wasn't able to eat the food in her refrigerator. So he would buy groceries for me and my daughter. So they ate my food, whatever he bought, they ate it. So then when we end up dating, and he was talking to this girl. Well, they were going around saying that he was had a girl prick. Well, the girl said she was pregnant by him. But he kept saying, no, she ain't never touched her. I wasn't there to touch her. But she picked with me and say she was pregnant with his baby, da da da, for the longest. But he's, promised me with his dear life on his mama on, you know, cheese and crackers, whatever. That was not his baby. Come find out. Oh, his baby. He came home and told me it was his baby after the girl had a baby. And I told him because he was lying to me and all this, and I was so heartbroken because I couldn't believe he actually messed with the girl, that I didn't want to be with him. And that was the first time he assaulted me because I threatened to not be with him. Keep in mind that when I was dating him and he was buying food and stuff, my mama was something serious. I couldn't go outside and sit on the steps in the projects with him unless he paid her to let me come out the door. He paid her to just come visit me and talk to me on the steps out the door. My mama benefited however she could. If she could get some money for him visiting me, if she could get some, he had to literally pay her to come see me. Never came in the house. Could only sit outside on the steps, on the project steps, to visit me. I thought that was crazy. And she said we couldn't eat their food, but if he bought food, she ate up our food, and it was just crazy how my mama was. back then. But man, and jumping forward, he assaulted me because I threatened to break up with him and I didn't want to be with him. He assaulted me. He took my head and beat my head into the brick project apartment outside in the back of apartment. Jumped on me, beat me up real bad, scared the life out of me. I said I was never talking to him again and I wasn't going to deal with him. My mama boyfriend tried some more mess. She ended up putting me out again with my daughter, so we had nowhere to go. So I ended up having to talk to the boyfriend that I broke up with that assaulted me, so that we could have somewhere to go because I had a child. So we ended up going to stay at his mama house, which he was an abandoned child. His mama stayed with her boyfriend in a house around on the next street over. So she had an empty house. So we stayed over there. He beat me the whole time we was over there. He was crazy. Man, beat me. Wouldn't let people see me. His mama, sister stayed there. He used to serve her drugs, rent out her car. um, that's when I learned how to cook up crack. Yeah. Anyway, dealing with him. Anyway, his mama ended up, I don't know what happened. She ended up putting us out of the house. We got a little shotgun house on 6th Avenue. Yeah, 6th Avenue. Right over there on the south side. And the beatings got worse. I got beat almost every night. Like, he beat me for looking out the window in the car. Time I'm looking at a dude. Or half the time, I don't even know what the beatings are for. I really don't. I just don't. He just spazzed out. I don't know if it's bipolar. I don't know. I remember in the middle of the night, I'm trying to go to school because I was still trying to go to school at the time. My aunt moved in with us, her and her boyfriend, so she could babysit my baby so that I could go to school because I was still in high school. I'm about in 11th grade at this point, getting beat every night. He'd wake me up in the middle of the night, jump on me, take me walking down, beat me with wet impacts out the ditch. You know, I used to sling impacts back then. They get in the ditch and they get wet in that plastic. Man, he used to beat me with them impacts so bad all night, man. Beat me in ditches, choking me out, just beating me down. Finally making it home, trying to catch the bus and make it to school the next morning. I slept all the way through school, couldn't get my work done. It was just too much. He ended up, he'll fight me until I'm tired and wore out, and then he'd have sex with me because I couldn't fight him off of me at this point because I just got beat and I'm tired and I can't fight him off. I'm weak. I ended up getting pregnant, and I was still getting beat while I was pregnant. He didn't never care about me being pregnant and beating me, and he beat me, and I lost that baby. I remember I had to walk to the hospital in the middle of the night. He beat me all the way walking to the hospital, kicking me in my back, down on the ground. I get there, they put me on bed rest, told me because I started bleeding. And I, walk back home to the apartment, still arguing, fussing, fighting, trying to stay in the bed. Couldn't go to school because I was bleeding. I ended up losing the baby, passed the baby in the toilet. I saw the little baby in the toilet because he fought me while I was on bed rest. Fought me again. I mean, for what? I'm in the bed, on bed rest. Um, Lost that baby. He still beat me, did the most. We lost that house because he had beat me and fight me to the landlord kick us out. I end up stopped going to school because I couldn't keep I couldn't keep up. I was so behind. I was sleeping. I was pregnant at one point. I was getting beaten in the middle of the night. He wouldn't let me see my mama then. He wouldn't let me see nobody. He was holding me hostage. He'll walk me across train tracks in the middle of the night and push me out in front of trains or hold me down in front of the train while the train coming, threatening to kill me, unalive me. I'm sorry. One night he beat me so bad in an alley. We ended up moving in with his aunt that was on crack. We ended up staying with her, and he was beating me in the middle of the night. Her house was staying on a futon in the living room. He'd take me out, and she stayed in the alley. Beat me in the alley so bad, me and my daughter. I guess God sent the angel because a girl I used to go to school with found me unconscious in the alley with my daughter. I woke up in the hospital, in the emergency room, with my daughter, and they called my mom. She didn't want me, and we ended up going to stay like in a boarding house. I don't really call it a boarding house, but those houses like when people get kids that get took from their parents and they volunteer to keep the kids until they find a home for the kids. So she had a bunch of different kids, like different nationality of kids, but they were young kids. I was pretty much about the oldest because at this point I was like 16 or turning 17. And but I was too young to go to a shelter because you had to be 21 to go to a shelter. I stayed there, and they told me that I'm looking at the time, you guys. It's been an hour and 42 minutes, but they told me that well, they didn't tell me. I heard the woman talking on the phone one day while we was staying there, and she said that she could no longer keep me, but she would keep my daughter. My daughter was a baby, and she's a beautiful little girl. So we was gonna go to the Child Protective Services office um, that Wednesday. It was on Monday, and they were gonna end up removing me from the house, putting me in a teenage, what you call it, foster home place, foster place, and she was gonna keep my daughter. So I messed around and heard it. So whenever she wasn't looking, I ended up getting on the phone, contacting my mom, and I begged her to just tell the lady that she was gonna let me come back home so they wouldn't take my daughter. And she could put me out whenever she got us out of that place before they took my baby. She agreed to it, so that Wednesday my mama showed up. She told me that I could come back home and everything, sign the papers. Man, as soon as we got down the street, because the child support, well, not child, the child protective services office and food stamp office, it was right there by the downtown mall, Sawmill Square Mall. So when we on the other side of the mall, she pulled over, opened the car door, and told me to get out. I was really hoping that she was gonna let me come home, but she did. Mm. I ended up walking across town to First Avenue, some miles away from Sawmill Square Mall to First Avenue. And my aunt stayed there, my mama's sister. Well, her 3 kids. She had 3 kids. She had an adult daughter and another daughter and a son about the same age as I was. So I executed me and my baby stay there, whatever. She let us stay there, but they were filthy. All them big old people up in there. It was filthy. It was so filthy and so nasty that I'd rather sleep outside on the ground. So when I did get there, she wanted to treat me like a slave and wanted me to clean up behind her and her overgrown kids that would not lift a finger and clean up nothing. When I tell you it was maggots and pots on the stove, cigarette ashes and butts and stuff in the tub and the bathroom sink, and the floor was so black, the bottom of their feet were black, like they had black soles on the bottom of their feet. The house had rotten, stinking trash everywhere. It smelled so bad. But they lived there. So they wanted me to clean up all of that while they just sat on their behind. She talked about me. I heard on the phone talking to my mama. Talking about, I'm sorry, I'm lazy. I won't clean up. I won't do this. She want me out of her house. And I thought to myself, the audacity. The audacity. So she had an abandoned house in the back of her house in an alley. So I went back there and looked at it in the house. It was like like abandoned apartment house thing. So I went back there, scoped it out, and for the next week I went. The bottom of it was hollow. It was ground where it was rotted, messed up. But the upstairs were pretty solid floor. It didn't have windows and stuff in it, but it was solid and it was up off the ground. So I felt safe up there. So I started cleaning it up, taking her broom, mopping. It was a wood floor, sweeping and mopping it. Got some candles, lit them in there. Made a pallet for me and my daughter, and it was up at the top, so it wasn't so hot. The wind kind of blowed through the window. But me and my daughter started living in the abandoned house in the alley. It was this barbecue pit in Kingston. It's closed down now. They call it Coleman's. They have these spicy chili cheese dogs and French fries. And I remember, you know, he's the old man that owned the place, Mr. Coleman. Um, I talked to him. He knew my situation, so he give us food at nighttime, like when they were getting ready to close, so we could have something to eat. And I walk over there and get that for me and my baby. It got to the point where I was trying to take baths out of buckets, take water from her house out the hose, and take baths for me and my daughter in buckets and things, and it was just exhausting. And I end up, uh, somebody told my baby, well, my ex-boyfriend, which is my baby daddy, the way I lost the baby, told him that where we was at. So he popped up over there one night in the alley and said he wasn't gonna do the stuff he was doing no more. And we could move back in with him. And he's staying in his mama house now and all this kind of stuff. For my baby's sake, I went back with him. I went back with him because I had nowhere else to go. Where we could take baths and not have to use the bathroom in buckets and stuff. Baby, what I do that for? I got pregnant again by him, was still getting beat. Every child I had by this man, I walked. Do you hear me? I walked to the hospital to have the children in labor and got beat to the hospital in labor to have the kids. I have 4 children by this man. He beat me constantly, all the time. He would beat me if I didn't cook cornbread with the meal. Any reason he could find, he would beat me. We'd be fighting in the middle of the night. I'd fight him back. It was very toxic. I'd take my own responsibility for some of it because if he jumped on me, it was to the point I had been watching Ike and Tina on TV, and I saw because at first I wouldn't hit him back because I was so scared to hit him back because he hit me so hard. I was afraid if I hit him back, he was gonna unalive me. I wasn't gonna be able to handle if I tried to retaliate because I'm gonna make him madder than what he is. So I would never fight him back. I would never hit him because I was scared. Man, I watched What's Love Got to Do with It. Tina, num your harangue kion. Num your harangue kion. Num your harangue kion. Num your harangue. Baby, she done kicked Ike in the groin and then fought back, baby. She might have been messed up, but Ike was messed up too. And I said, now look at her. Tina fought back. And Tina got out of that situation. So I started fighting back. I said, you know what? I'm getting beat anyway. Guess what? That movie inspired me to fight for myself. Fight back. And baby, when I started fighting back, it was a fight. We tore up cars, we tore up houses, whatever. It was constant fight. He cheated. It was just a lot. It was the most toxic, domestic disturbance ever. Man, that went on. I stayed with that man probably, man, for years. It went on for a few years since I was 16 until I turned 21 years old. Because when I turned 21 is where the last time he choked me so I was unconscious. He thought I was dead. And he left me there to die. I didn't try to go get no help for me or nothing. But I came to. And he realized I was alive and he beat me right on back home. Threw my shoes in the ditch and beat me back home. When he made it back, I told him, look, my angels done been with me so long, it don't make no sense. And back then, I'm Matrix leaving and not paying attention, knowing God was moving, but not being conscious enough to know just how God was moving. He had already beat me up, right before this incident happened when I was 21. I had we'd already got into it before, and I ended up going to jail. I did some time in jail for aggravated assault because he was trying to unalive me. Now these times you say, you never called the police on him. You never. I did. I called the police several times. But when I called the police, he got right back out of jail. His brother would come bun him out. He would threaten me, tell me his brother was going to bun him out. He was going to be right back out. And he was going to do me something. And every time he got out and he came back and he did me something. Called the police again. He got to the point, called the police so much. I called the police so much that he started telling the police, like, if I try to fight back, if he had a scratch or something, they want to take both of us to jail. So you gonna go to jail, he gonna go to jail for the best because you keep calling. So both of y'all gonna go to jail. You're gonna have to go to anger management. You gotta get a probation officer. How I'm gonna pay a probation officer? We live in a house, I'm sleeping on some mattress on the floor. I ain't got no money, I ain't got no job. At this point, I got 5 children. My daughter, my 4 boys by him, because I didn't have 4 kids by this man at this point. Because all he did was beat me and have sex with me while I can't fight him off. And to tell me I'm about to have his baby. Yeah. But man, so this one particular night I found out that he was cheating on me with a friend of ours, which was a Caucasian female that we're friends with, and come to find out that they were dating and they were sexually involved, and I found out about it. He found out, I found out about it, so he tried to rush home, and I knew it was going to be a fight. So um, I told him I didn't want to be with him. I wanted him to leave me and my kids alone, stay away. We was staying in the projects. We had got an apartment in projects at this point. Man, that man beat me all the way out the door. I'm trying to run away to run to the store. He done took my phone, snapped it in half. We done made it to across the bridge at the other projects. He done snatched my shirt off, my breasts hanging out. He punching me, kicking me down my back, choking me. Everybody looking at me. I'm embarrassed. I don't know what to do. Everybody looking at my body. He beaten. Nobody would ever help me because they was afraid of him. He was so big and strong and cocky. He looked like Vin Raines. I ain't joking. Nick, this thick. He was just a big dude. Like, everybody was scared of him. He was knocking people out around in the neighborhood. Nobody would mess with him. So if they saw him beating me, nobody would come to my rescue. Nobody would help me out of fear that he would beat them up as well. So we made it back over to the other projects. We make it by my cousin's house. And like I said, my breasts hanging out, no shirt on. I'm bleeding. He done punched me. He done kicked me in my back. He did the most. So we outside. He take my head, on the wrestling thing, and they call it DDT and somebody. So he took my head, took his knee, and like boom, and like took my head, and I almost felt like I almost broke my neck. Oh, it hurt so bad. So I'm beating on her door. She finally opened the door. She hear us outside fighting outside of her house. She opened the door. Kids laying on the floor, sleep. I run in the kitchen. I grab a steak knife, and he steady coming at me, and I'm swinging the knife. And I'm telling him to move, leave me alone. Say I'm gonna cut you. Get away from me. Get away from me. At this point, he's so cocky. Now he feel like he invincible or something. He done ran up on me. I guess he didn't think I was gonna poke him with the knife. I didn't try to poke him with the knife. It's like he ran up on the knife. Man, the knife went in his liver. When the knife came out, the little steak knife, it didn't have no blood on it, like a jelly white film on it, a film. And I was like, what the world is this? Did he get cut? And he said, B, you cut me. And I was like, I'm finna unalive you. Da da da. But blood started coming out of his mouth and stuff. And he bagged up. So I took out walking to go home where my kids was at. Well, I had a friend of ours watching my kids. So I hip and ran down there, and he walked out the door and he was falling to the ground and coughing up blood. I was petrified. I was scared. I ran to my apartment to go check on my children, and I figured I was finna go to jail because I didn't know if he was gonna die. I didn't know because I didn't even feel the knife go in. He ran up on the knife, and I was just swinging it because I wanted him to be afraid to stay away from me. But he kept coming at me, and he just came at me. And while I was swinging it, it caught him. Was not done deliberately, was not done intentionally. Just trying to protect myself. So he would not unalive me. Man, his family come down there, baseball bats, butcher knives, something like that. My mama come, knock on the door, say, well, somebody done threw him in his car, took him to the hospital. People downstairs, she had to fight her way to my house because people down there trying to hurt me or whatever for what I did to him, which they don't know what's going on or whatever. That was his family members. Baby. Police come. I talked to my kids. I told my prophet and going to jail. I asked my mom to get my children and everything. She said she was gonna get them, take them down with her. I ain't in jail. Police come get me. I ain't in jail a good week. And I found out my mama done let my sisters. They get my EBT card. They get my food stamps. They get everything. So my sister took the kids go have a picnic. My sister got 5 kids. I got 5 kids. She take them go have a picnic at Mason Park, and they end up leaving one of my children at the park, and they was scared to go back and get him. So he stayed there all night. Some Caucasian lady got my baby and kept him the whole night. bought them some milk and bottles or whatever. So just so happened the next day they bring me from the jail to the police station because I gotta see the judge to get a bun or whatever, a bun hearing. Baby, I get up there, I'm sitting there waiting. I got my black and white on, my stripes. I got my, jailhouse slides on. I got chains on my ankles and my hands, chained to a bench. And I hear somebody in the hallway talk to an officer telling me somebody left their baby at the park. And she keep asking the baby what his name is, and the baby say his name Killer Red. I said, Killer Red? Now that's what my little red baby called himself, Killer Red. And it was his voice. And I said, maybe I am going crazy because I've been in a holding cell for over a week or two now. And sleeping on this bench, paranoid, don't know if this man, dead or alive. Nobody contacting me. Mamas ain't answering the phone. I call, I can't get the hold to nobody. I don't know what's going on in the world. And the police officer said, what you say your name? He said, Killer Red. Say, is he saying Killer Red? Is he saying Killer Red? And I'm like, am I bugging? So I ease to the end of the bench, stick my head out the door, and look down the hall. And they holding my baby. I asked the police officer, I screamed, I said, what are you doing with my baby? And they get to cussing me out, going off on me because the baby was abandoned. Where were you at? Where have you been? Why would you leave your baby? I'm like, you don't see I'm handcuffed to a bench in a jailhouse outfit in jail. Before they even took the time to realize that I'm locked up, he just started attacking me. He realized, yes, she's in jail. So who had a baby? I tell him that my sister them had a baby, whatever. My mama them, baby, they called my mama my sister. They done took my kids, took my sister kid, my mama. They let my mama said that my sister had the kids. So my mama didn't get in trouble, my sister did. So they took my sister kids and they took my kids. My mama said that she would get my sister kids, but she wasn't getting all my kids. She got my daughter, but my kids had to go to wherever the system. Now, my kid's daddy, his mother got my children. She got my children because they won't go to the system. But keep in mind, this woman is upset with me because I just put her son in the hospital. Baby, she get my kids. They said she had one of my sons. He was still young. He still peed in the bed. She used to lock him in the room by himself in the back of the house. And they cried, and I just, she never got along with me. She never treated me like she liked me. You know, she done jumped on me. I done been to jail. Her daughters done jumped on me. Her daughter, her sister daughter, and all these were big women. At the time, I was small and petite. And they'll jump me. I'm beginning the baby out the car seat in the back of the car. And here all them come jumping, punching me all in my head, just jumping me. Because I done got into it with my baby daddy. Because my baby daddy done assaulted me. And y'all jumping on me. Baby, I was getting beat by everybody. Anyway. So since that happened, I got to go talk to the detectives. And they interrogate me about what happened the night that my baby daddy got stabbed. Okay. I tell them the exact same story I'm telling y'all. He didn't press charges. The state pressed charges. He refused to press charges. They gave me a $75,000 bond. I feel like they gave me a $75,000 bond because the same day that I'm in here about to get a bond here, my child up in here done been abandoned. I'm from the projects. I got 5 children. One of them left here. I feel like they labeled me as a a hood rat or nobody or nothing, a ghetto. I don't know. But I couldn't understand how I got a $75,000 bond for an accident that I did not do deliberately trying to protect myself. I sat in jail for some months. He was at intensive care. He couldn't work. He tried to work, but he was so messed up he couldn't get me out of jail. But whenever he was able to work or come up with the money, which was months and months later, he got me out of jail. But I still had a bond with a bondsman. Lord, y'all, just trying to pay the bondsman. My mama signed a bond. They had to sign their signature to say they're gonna pay the rest of the money because they got me out on a bond after they got down soon. So I still gotta pay $200 a week to a bondsman that I ain't even got a job. I don't pay $200 a week to a bondsman to get out of jail. I got kids trying to stay in an apartment, trying to pay rent with my baby daddy. He doing what he could do, whatever. I go pay the bondsman. God rest his soul. I'm gonna tell you his name because he ain't here. Doc Seal. I go to pay him. I'm a young girl. I go over there, and this man trying to force me to have sex with him to take money off my bun. He pulling out his privacy. I go to his office. He did it in his office. He had a room in the back of his office. I go back there to pay the money. He wouldn't come get the money. Baby, I go back there. The man is trying to touch me, pulling out his private in front of me, jacking off his private in front of me, grabbing on me, um, telling me that if I did stuff with him, that he'll take money off of my bun, off the $200, $50. Like I never did any of this stuff. He would grab my hand and try to make me put my hand on his stuff or talking about. And sometimes I did put my hand on it, but that was because he said that he was going to send bounty hunters to come get me and take me back to jail, and I was going to lose my kids again. And I didn't have all the money to pay him every week. He was sending bounty hunters to my house. He was crazy. Y'all, I would go to his house. If he wasn't in his office, I go to his house on the south side. He's sitting outside. He got a foyer like in the front of his house, uh like the porch part, but it was like a foyer part because it was glassed in. He'd be sitting there. As soon as I walked in to pay him the money that I had to give him what I had, he would have his private out in my face. Child, I was trying to, even the daggone bondsman was trying to take advantage of me and do crazy stuff to me so I keep my freedom. I've been through so much crazy stuff. And I want to finish off this story, but it's getting late. Um, anyway, so I'm going through all of this with the bondsman. That's stressing me. My baby daddy still jumping on me, fighting me. He done got his strength back. He ready to start back up with the fighting. And that's when I told y'all, after months of that, we ended up where I got choked unconscious in the projects and brought me back. And well, before that, it was a couple weeks before that, he had jumped on me real bad, and I tried to take my life. I tried to OD again. I tried to take a bunch of pills, and but I was looking for the pills. I was looking for a knife. I looked for whatever was gonna get the job done. And I had 5 kids at this point, but like I said, I was so weak and broke down, and I was so tired, and I wanted to give up on life. I didn't have the energy anymore. I was drained. The energy was gone. There was nothing left. I was just, I was there. And I was sick. I was sick. I was weak. I could not do it anymore. And I just want to be over. I could barely take care of my kids. I can't take care of my kids like this. I can't do too much of nothing. You know what I mean? Like, they'd be better off going to a system or something at this point. The domestic violence, the beating. He even hit the kids. He whooped the kids and he hit them too hard. And the way he beat on my kids scared me. I was scared he was going to do something to the kids. I just ready for them to go to the system and get out the system. I couldn't get away from them. The kids were stuck with them. I'm getting beat. The kids getting beat. It was all just too much. I just wanted it to stop. I couldn't afford to pay the bondsman. I'm hiding from bounty hunters. They coming driving past the house, beating on the door, talking with the warrants for my arrest. All because the daggone bondsman want me to have sex with them, sexual favors to keep me out of jail. So at this point, he beat me. I couldn't find him, but then I didn't call it my intuition. Then I didn't call it my angels. I just felt like God was speaking to me. And it kept telling me to get a phone book. And I'm like, what am I going to get a phone book for when we ain't got no phone? But back then, they threw out the yellow book all the time to everybody doorstep. The yellow pages, yellow book. And we had about 5 or 6 of them in the house. But I was still like, what am I going to do with it? Why I keep thinking to get the yellow book? Why do I keep hearing that in my mind? Get the phone book. I'm trying to ignore it because I'm looking for something to take my life. And it just got louder and it got more demanding. And it said, get the phone book. So I said, I don't know why I'm thinking to get the phone book, but let me get the phone book because I got to get the phone book, because it was pressed so hard at me to get the phone book. I get the phone book and I look at it and I'm like, I hear something say, open the phone book. I open the phone book. Y'all kid you not, when I opened the phone book, it landed directly on the page that said domestic abuse hotline. I looked and I was like, domestic abuse. That's what I'm going through, domestic abuse. But I said, no, because last time I did something like that, they were trying to take my kids from me, and put me in a foster care and take my children and put them in, no, So I shot the phone book down, and some said, open the phone book, open the phone book. I didn't open. I sat there and it just got louder. Open the phone book. I opened it again and it fell directly on the same page, y'all. I didn't mark the page. I didn't nothing. It came back open on the exact same page. Some said write the number down. I'm like, I don't know why I'm writing a number down when I don't got a phone. But I wrote the number down. I listened to my whatever was coming through to me. As they were downloads or spirit speaking to me or my highest. I don't at the time I just know this is what I was being pressed to do in my mental. I write it down. I end up going to just going to sleep because I was tired, and I took a nap because I just got through being assaulted and I was drained. I was in pain. My mouth was busted up, lips swole, teeth done went all inside. Look, my teeth are spaced out and they real thin. Man, I had holes all in my gums. My gums got scars in them to this day. But I woke up and we stayed by a little mini mart called One Stop, and they had a payphone on the outside and the front. So someone said call the number. So I got my stuff. I walked. I left the kids in the room. They was asleep, and I went to the little mini mart and I got on the payphone and I dialed the little 1-800 number, and I started trying to. They asking me questions. I was afraid. They was asking me, "Am I, abused? Yes. Do I have kids? Yes." Just start asking me questions. I started getting frantic because I felt like they were getting too personal, asking me stuff. Where are you at now? And this, that, and the other. Man, I got so freaking scared. I hung up the payphone and took off running back to the house where the kids was at before they woke up. Baby, I tell you, it's probably, it probably wasn't even a whole week later. He ended up jumping on me again. And that's when he choked me till I was unconscious and thought I was dead. When I woke up, I saw him, snot was running out his nose. He was crying so hard. He was on the other end of the projects, under the steps. Just, I woke up to the smell of piss in the hallway. Where they go up under the steps in the highway and piss, and I was just laid out in it, and the ammonia of it woke me up, I guess. But when I came to, even though my eyes were open, all I saw was black. It was black. Like I did not see light. Like it was black. I was woke, but my vision, I don't know if the oxygen had to come back to my brain or to my body or something, because it was black and I couldn't see nothing, but I could hear somebody crying hard and sniffling. So I guess because I was choked, I got the coughing to get my breath, and he realized I was not dead. So he run over there, and I look at him, and my vision came back, and all I saw was red eyes and snot running all out his nose, and oh my goodness, his shirt was wet from crying. I mean, he looked bad, and he started hugging on me and all this type of stuff, and I was telling him to let me go. I didn't want to be with him. I got to get away from you. You're going to kill me. I got to get away from you. Please get away from me. I'm begging, leave me alone. He started snapping out and started beating me all the way back to the house, back to the west side, from Queensboro back to the west side behind Scotty Park, and took my shoes so I wouldn't run, and took my shoes out of my feet and threw them in this big ditch that separated the two apartments complexes. And I walked bare feet in the middle of the night, probably about 12 o'clock at night, all the way back to the west side. And we had somebody watching the kids over there. It was a friend of ours. And he left. We ended up going to sleep. I was tired. I was weak. I was messed up. I was afraid. I was frantic. I wanted to get away. I felt like he was going to leave me for dead. I said either it's going to be him or me. I'm going to mess around and make a mistake, try to protect myself again, and I'm going to unalive him, or he going to unalive me. And just just because, like, I mean, I don't have a choice. I got to get away from this man. So I thought about the phone number that I wrote on a little piece of paper, the domestic abuse hotline. And his brother called him because they finished concrete. His brother called and said he was coming to pick them up at 4 o'clock in the morning because they had to go out of town for a job. Man, I heard that when he got in that work truck at 4 in the morning to leave, I hurry up, grabbed a trash bag, threw my kids' clothes in a trash bag wherever I could get. I got my kids up. We all ran over to the payphone at Scotty Pop. I called the 1-800 number, told them what was going on, and they sent a van to come pick us up by the snowball stand, behind the snowball stand. And that's how I ended up in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, with my kids staying in a domestic abuse shelter, which was God saving my life, sending angels, intuition, all that good stuff, man. Oh God, thank you. The domestic abuse shelter, yeah, it was scary. I had never, been in Hattiesburg before. I didn't know my way around. I never, really, you know, didn't know what to do. I had no money, I had no nothing. I didn't know the people, but they were so comforting. They were so nice. They took good care of us. We didn't have to have money. They bought food. All I had to do was, take turns with other women in their families and they're cleaning up, and cooking, taking turns cooking. They bought pampers and clothes for the kids. But I was still traumatized. I was still scared, looking out the window. afraid for my life, even though it was a discreet place that nobody was supposed to know was a domestic abuse shelter, even though it was on a main road, because it was on Main Street. But it was a fenced in, like a screened in porch. Nobody knew that that was a domestic abuse shelter because it was a big white house, several rooms. Um, but that's how I ended up there. Man, I never received, after I was there for a while, and I worked two jobs while I was there. They got me a babysitter. Um, we ended up getting our own apartment. They let me go to counselors, psychiatrists. I got on antidepressants. I went to the doctor. My kids got checked out. Um, they I did some volunteer work at Christian Services. Um, what else? They gave me a mentor, somebody to come and I could talk to that helped me find apartments, find somewhere to move, the transition. Man, I'm a domestic abuse shelter advocate. They are amazing. They helped me through my training. God put me right where I needed to be. I did not have to worry about a thing, y'all. I rode the seated bus. Sometimes they give me a ride to my job. I ended up working at Party Universe and at Belks in the mall. I had two jobs. Um, it was pretty amazing. But anyway, we ended up getting an apartment in Pineview Apartments in Hattiesburg. I done stayed there long. It was a bunch of drug trafficking, people trying to kick in my door, break in my door. Um, I got a boyfriend that I met while I was at the shelter. I was taking my kids to the park, so we can get out of the shelter. There's a park behind the shelter, so we went there and had picnics and played at the park a lot while we was in the shelter. We had a curfew, had to be back in by 6 or 7 or something like that. But I met a friend guy, and it ended up being my boyfriend. I moved to the apartment. He helped me out. I still had like a mentor from when I was in the shelter. They helped me. They even got me an attorney for that domestic abuse charge. They got the charges dropped because I was not at fault. I mean, it was I didn't do. He ran into the knife himself. So the charges got dropped. He never made charges. The attorneys, they got me an attorney. They got all that taken off my record. That record that's clean from me. I don't have any felonies. That is wiped away. Now I might have spent time in jail, dealt with a disgusting Bell's bun. Y'all know after I got all that stuff throughout or whatever and got out of the shelter, got that little apartment, I visited Laurel again, and that bunsman saw me and called bounty hunters and made them come pick me up while I was visiting my mama them in the projects. Took me to jail, tried to lock me up, and come to find out he picked me up for nothing because I didn't owe him a dime because the charges got dropped and I got cleared. Boy, was he mad. And I tried to tell him that, and he didn't listen to me and still had me picked up. Anyway, I'm just going to say this, y'all. I'm going to end it right here, but I do want to say this, and I'm going to come back and, give y'all some more. But right now, I'm getting bushed. It's been over almost 2.5 hours. My baby daddy came to our new apartments and tried to assault me again, but I had a boyfriend and called the police. We got rid of him, so I didn't have to deal with him no more. He was very upset and mad or whatever. Y'all, I have never, I probably got since my kids are 20, my oldest son is 26. I done got 3 child support payments from my baby daddy. They court ordered him to pay me $250 a month. And that was years after I got out of the shelter. That was probably about 14 and 15 by the time child support worked with me to even get him in court. He finished concrete. He worked under the table. He got um he done had Benzes. He got two-story house. He owned properties. He got LLCs. He got all this stuff going on. And all he was supposed to pay me was $250 worth of child support. And he made about 3 payments of $200. We didn't pay the whole $250. I've been taking care of them kids all this time, all the years since when we moved in that shelter. It was in 2001. Yeah, 2001, because I had turned 21 years old, because that's how I ended up was able to go to the shelter without, to the domestic abuse shelter without them trying to take my kids. I had to be 21 years old. So when I turned 21 is when we moved to the shelter, and that was in 2001. That's when I separated from him. I got no assistance, no child support, no help. He didn't buy school clothes. He didn't buy school supplies. He didn't go to football games. He didn't go to boxing matches. He did nothing to assist me with parenting them. Nothing. I don't know if he did it out of because I left him to save me and my kids' life, or what the deal was. But the man has plenty of money. He made several children after the kids that I have with him. I think he got a total of like 11 or 12 boys, all boys. He made kids after me and him left. I don't think he paid child support with them. He got some kids that got took from the state from abusing those kids. But the, uh, the child support office, nobody cannot get this man ordered to do nothing. I finally got him ordered $250. He refused to pay the $250. They never made him pay back time child support or anything like that. So right now, I checked my child support case. He is $29,000 behind in child support since all my kids have become the age of 21. $29,000, and that's without back time, and that's probably for just the last, you know, few years of their teenage lives, because they didn't make them pay back time. They never invited me to court when he did go to court. I never got no paperwork. I never got a court date. That's just what they said, and that's what it was. And when I called child support people, they said, "Don't you have custody? Ain't you the legal guardian?" What I mean, I didn't ask to be the only parent, and I didn't ask to be the only legal guardian. I didn't ask to take care of them by myself. So nobody helped me, nobody assisted me. To this day, I still cannot get a child support payment from him. I cannot get him to do anything. And I'm knowing that he has businesses. He has properties, rental properties. As a matter of fact, one of my sons staying in one of his rental properties that my son pay him rent. And my son never even got child support from his own daddy. How's that? I remember when I used to try to get child support, arguing with him back and forth, back and forth. He'll say, "Well, y'all can come work at one of my properties. Y'all can go lay tile, and that way you can make the money, and I'll put it on the child support card." He used to take my kids and take them to work and finish concrete with him, or lay tile, or do work. And then the only 3 payments they got was because they went and worked with him, and instead of him paying them for the work that they did when they became like 12 and 13, whatever, he put it on the child support card. He paid his child support with their label. But God, I'm going to get back to this because I want to let y'all know how amazing God is, and how all this bad stuff that I went through in my life, and I ain't touched bases on everything, and it's like 2.5 hours worth of information I done gave y'all testimony rather. And I ain't even got to the good part. I ain't got to the part where I went through my spiritual awakening, my healing, and my clarity, y'all. My downloads, my understanding of why I endured what I endured, why I went through what I went through. The process of me healing from all that trauma, the process of me forgiving, releasing, letting go and letting God, and understanding that God had a divine plan and a path already set up for me. And everything that seemed to be bad was working out for my good. And I praise God. And I am one of the happiest, most grateful, divine feminines you will ever meet in your life. And I cannot wait to get to that part and, just let you guys know this, that the juicy part, the amazing part, the gift, the oh my God, y'all, the enlightenment, the ascension. Y'all, God is so good. All praises to the Most High. Man, the divine is so divine, y'all. So divine. And I am so blessed. And I thank y'all for sitting here taking the time out. This is almost like a movie long. Y'all to sit here and listen to me tell y'all my story about, everything I've been through. And I ain't get into a lot of detail because if I got into detail, it would have been 6 hours of me trying to skip through 44 years of my life. I didn't tell y'all how I used to bump my head, my nerves, just bumping my head. Whole time, angels were rocking me, and people thought I was crazy, and they were calming me down, rocking me, putting me to sleep. Well, y'all, come on, y'all, like, share, y'all, come back. I'm gonna get more content. Y'all, we ain't got to the juicy part. Man, when I tell y'all what I went through, when my spiritual awakening, my dark night of the soul, I done had a bunch of dark nights of the soul, but this dark night of the soul what led to my spiritual awakening. Y'all, I'm trying to tell y'all, y'all don't want to miss it. Y'all don't want to miss it. It's mind blowing. It is, oh man, it's so insightful. I'm going to heal somebody. I am going to heal somebody. This message is going to get out to somebody who need it, who done been through so much that they want to give up on life. Like, you don't understand why me, why so much coming at me, why I won't let go, why I ain't lucky, why I let the game. I'm going to tell y'all about the spiritual warfare. I'm going to tell y'all about the spell work. I'm going to tell you how they affected my food, y'all. I'm the root work, the candle work. Look, and I'm going to tell y'all how God got me up out of all of it, y'all, and got me happy, blessed, grateful. Man, I'm so grateful. I've never been so happy. I've never been so joyful. I've never been so calm. I never had so much peace, y'all. When I give y'all this information, y'all, your life gonna change. So if you are going through any kind of spiritual awakening, or if you've gone through anything like this, let me be the one to help you make sense of it all. Okay? So please come back. We're going to have more content. You don't want to miss it. Please like, share, subscribe to my channel. Um, y'all, share, because we want this message to reach somebody, because I know that I am not the only person who has come up from a child to an adult that feel like all of the obstacles of the world was on their head, cannot make it, no help, nobody, or you feel alone. You feel like it's just you fighting and you getting nowhere. You're in a repetitive cycle and you just want it to end. You want peace, you want joy, you want happiness, you want stability. I'm going to give you the tools. I'm going to give you the key. I'm going to tell you everything I learned, everything I know, and I'm still healing, y'all. But when I tell you, I ain't never been this happy. I ain't never been this, y'all. My peace. Like I feel so good. I don't worry. I don't have God's the divine. All praises to Most High, y'all. Please come back. Come back. Now that we done got through that part, that's behind us. That is behind. We finna get to the juicy stuff. We finna get to the stuff. We finna get to the healing. We finna get through the awakening. We're gonna get through the signs, the synchronicities, how God led me up out of the den, y'all, out the fire. I got y'all. Come back. Come back. Like, share. I can't wait to see y'all on here again. Ashe, Ashe. Sending y'all so much love and light. See you soon.